I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. At today's House Select Committee on the coronavirus hearing, Congressman Jim Jordan questioned Anita DeSeekin, a senior analyst at the Center for Science and Democracy, about statements he called false made by CDC Director Rochelle Walensky. At the center of Jordan's criticisms of Walensky were the CDC Director's claims that the vaccinated cannot contract or transmit the COVID-19 virus. Jordan pressed DeSeekin about why the statement hasn't been classified as a scientific integrity violation. Let's listen in to the exchange.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Desikin, how many scientific integrity violations did you say you found during the Trump administration?
204.
And how many were relative to COVID?
29.
Have you found any scientific integrity violations with the Biden administration?
The Biden administration obviously is still ongoing, but yes, we have found at least one.
One? And how many in COVID?
None related to COVID.
None? So when Dr. Walensky said that the vaccinated can't get the virus, that wasn't a scientific integrity violation? False.
Yeah, thank you, Congressman. So my organization has a specific definition for how we define an attack on science. You can see more in my written testimony on that.
She's the head of CDC, and she said a statement that is absolutely 100% positively false. She said the vaccinated could not get the virus. She actually said the vaccinated couldn't transmit the virus. We know both those statements are false, and you haven't found those as a scientific integrity violation?
Again, we can get back to you in writing to discuss this more.
But you also said in your opening statement that misinformation erodes trust in public institution. Did it erode trust in public institution? Did it erode trust in the CDC when the head of the CDC said that the vaccinated cannot get the virus?
Again, I can't speak on this specific issue.
That's a simple question. When the head of the CDC, a pretty important public institution when we're talking about COVID, and you've pointed out the Trump administration supposedly did scientific integrity violations. When the head of the CDC says something that is absolutely false, and yet that's not the simple question, does that erode trust in public institutions?
Again, we can get back to you in writing to describe this answer in more detail.
Did it erode trust in public institution, and would it be a scientific integrity violation when the head of the CDC allowed the teachers union to edit the guidance on school reopenings, which is exactly what Dr. Walensky did? Would that be a scientific integrity violation?
That's an investigation that I can't comment on the specific details, but we do agree that the process of investigating a scientific integrity violation is important. There needs to be investigations to examine the evidence.
How about when Dr. Fauci said that this virus didn't start in a lab? Is that a concern? Does that erode trust? Because it sure looks like it did. All the evidence points there. Is that something you're going to investigate?
We can describe this more in writing. I'm not.
What about when he said it wasn't gain of function research done at the lab in Wuhan, China? You going to investigate that? Because it sure looks like it was gain of function research.
Again, I can't specifically talk on this particular instance.
What about when Dr. Fauci said American tax dollars were not used at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, when in fact we know they were? Was that a scientific integrity violation? Dr. Fauci, the smartest guy on the planet, the highest paid guy in our government, the head of the NIAID, when he said that, was that a scientific integrity violation that you guys should be looking into?
Again, I can't speak on specifics that you're raising here, but I can bring it up in our written testimony to you responding. I'm here to talk about how scientific integrity.
Joe Biden said he would not impose a vaccine mandate. When Jen Psaki said they weren't going to impose a vaccine mandate. When Jeff Zients, White House COVID-19 response coordinator, said, quote, "That's not an authority we're exploring at all." And then just a few months later, they actually did that. Did that erode trust in public institutions when they said 3 different occasions, the top people in the administration said they would not impose a mandate and then turned around and did? Does that erode trust in public institutions?
Again, some of these issues that you bring up are actually in the policy realm and not in the science realm. Policy can use non-scientific information to guide its processes. scientific integrity is more specific on the process of researching, on
The
data
scientific
collection.
integrity issue when the head of CDC says that the vaccinated cannot get the virus. Is that something that's science that you should look into?
Again, I can't comment on these CDC procedures in depth.
I just think it's important we understand the inconsistencies here. This is you've 20-some violation, scientific integrity violation, the Trump administration, and yet you haven't looked at anything relative to the Biden administration where they said things that were absolutely, positively, 100% false. And when they let an outside political organization edit the school reopening guidance, they let them edit that. That has to be eroding trust in public institutions. I'm just using the words from your testimony. I see him over time, Mr. Chairman, so I'll yield back.
Thank you for yielding back, Mr. Jordan. The chair now recognizes